Hi everybody, Lance here, mind of a B.M.C, and I saw this article today, and I want to talk about it, and we're talking about the NIMBY'S today. If you don't know what a NIMBY is, it's basically this: not my backyard. So basically, they want it everywhere else but there. Now, to understand from a comedic standpoint, I always tell people to watch this. Watch George Carlin's take way back in the day talking about NIMBYs. But in this particular situation, you see it right on the screen. This is from sfgate.com. It was actually posted today, actually. It was saying, trying to frighten me. Tension is building in San Francisco's Billionaire Row. We're going to do a little read along here, show exactly what this article is talking about. Now it says here, if you take a casual afternoon stroll through San Francisco Pacific Heights neighborhood, you might notice sounds of birds chirping or the ambient hum of wild gently rustling through the trees. Miles away and far from above the bustle downtown, it feels sincere, otherworldly, and even. But you get closer to a high-end block of Broadway between Broderick and Baker, part of what is known as Billionaires Row, the atmosphere changes. The grattling dim of power tools interrupts the peace. Black Range Rovers and pickups clog the roads. Workers diligently paint fences and trim rose bushes under the watchful glaze of overt surveillance cameras. Now let's start there. Obviously, this is a rich neighborhood. And I can't speak for San Francisco. For you San Francisco people, please comment below and tell me is this exactly what's going on there. Now, obviously, there's some money in this neighborhood and some big money, but we're going to continue. As a result, parking this enclave is a nightmare for employees of these wealthy households and the frustrated neighbors who live neighborly, according to several people who was granted anonymity in accordance with Hearst's ethics policy. Each of them shared with SF Gate a range of experience where they say they were followed by men in dark suits and sunglasses, personally admonished by powerful public figures, or came back to their cars to see what they'd been mysteriously damaged. And we're going to talk about that later on. This money block is home of San Francisco's elite. Residents include Mimi Haas, the billionaire Levi Strauss heir, and her mother, and the mother of Mel Daniel Lurie. Living neighborly is Jonathan Ive, a former Apple executive who helped Steve Jobs design the iPhone. Other high-profile neighbors include Sergei Petrov, Consul General of Russia, Laurene Powell, Jobs, and Larry Ellison, and reality television star John Willenberg from The Apprentice. I don't know why they say star twice. Hey guys, check the copy edits. The street, which has always had parking shortage due to constant construction in the area, is awful lined with chic white cones to keep the general public away from lavish mansions on Broadway, and quietly barreling against the affluent areas and spoken rules to have consequences. Now here's where the whole NIMBYism starts. The last time I checked, this is a public street. It's not an HOA or anything. So why are you doing this? I mean, I get why, but you're going to cause more trouble than it's worth. It says, when one Pacific Heights resident cleared some of the white cones so he can leave his car on the public street, he said that a Lexus blocked him what seemed like a clear act of retaliation. Later, he was shocked to discover his car had been viciously keyed. It looked like someone has dragged pliers, across the door. He recently told SF Gate. Okay, now here's the deal. These rich fat cats, order security, are already thinking they own everything over there. And I got news for you. You don't. Now we'll continue. There's something about people, a certain group of people, when they have a huge amount of money. They just feel like they're just better than everybody else and they're more powerful. Another resident told SF Gate on March the 11th. So this has been going on for a while. It sounds like not the last week or so, but a while. And this person said, this is a public road, like I just said. The resident said the guards in charge of protecting some of these houses usually keep a low profile, but in his experience will come out of the woodwork we do something they don't like. Now here's the deal. Money don't mean a damn. I don't care if you have $1 million or $1. You can't run roughshod over everybody, especially when parking is at a premium. Like, be a perfect example. Like, I live here in Akron, Ohio. Now, the big ritzy neighborhood, sort of, is Highland Square. Now, everybody knows up there that parking's at a premium, especially on the side streets. But I'm gonna use South Highland Street as my example, right off West Market. In that situation, because it's a narrow street, everybody understands if you don't have a driveway, you better get your spot and get your spot fast. Because you can't block the driveway hours that the city's gonna tell you in a second. But people here understand that, hey, parking is parking. You have to park all the way at the other end of the street if you can go up to the bars or everything. But I guess every place is different. So, we're going to continue. We're back to the article. The first encounter took place about 5 years ago, so this has been going on for a long, long time. When he was walking through the neighborhood and admiring store architecture. Now, I do that myself. Might look at it, gaze, hey, that's kind of nice, might take a picture, blah, blah, blah. Within 30 seconds, he said, a man in a dark suit and sunglasses suddenly came out of the house and began questioning him. When the resident told the guard he was just admiring the building, the guard told him he needed to keep moving. Now, me personally, I would ask him, who are you? And what do you do? Because obviously this guy don't live here. Because I would have straight called him out on it. Now, the guard's demands frustrated the resident, who knew it was a public street, so he stood his ground until the employee eventually retreated back into the house. Good for you. Now, about 2 years ago, the same resident was looking for parking, so he moved an unauthorized cone. Now, this is important because I started looking at the other articles in this, and these are white cones. They're not yellow cones. It doesn't say no parking anytime. It doesn't give a time about parking during the day or night. It doesn't say nothing like that. So he moved around cones back and had, let me start this. About 2 years ago, the same resident was looking for parking, so he moved to unauthorized cones that's become ubiquitous in a wealthy neighborhood. Like clockwork, two people surrounded his car and began interrogating him. I said, you don't own this public street. These cones are not legal. He told SF Gate. After going back and forth, he told personnel that he was going to leave in a few hours. Okay, here's another problem. These people that live in these homes are bullying sound like people that literally legit live here in the neighborhood. That's a huge, huge issue. And I'm surprised the city of San Francisco is not doing anything, or are they kowtowing these people? I honestly think it's the latter, not the former. They don't want these people to move because they're in a big enough mess as it is. Another similar incident took place about a year and a half ago when a woman tried politely negotiating with him about a parking in front of one of the mansions. Again, the resident reminded her that Broadway was a public street. But the fourth encounter was far by worse, and the most frightening, he said. A few months ago, when he removed the cone so he could park, 4 people in suits and sunglasses approached him, telling him to leave. He said when the residents started arguing with the group, they took out iPhones and started taking tons of pictures, and they were really trying to frighten me, the resident alleged. When the ordeal was over, the resident said he was disturbed to discover that one of the men had started following him for 2 blocks. Okay, now this has to be addressed, and I don't know if the city of San Francisco is going to, or has started to. Like I said, if you're in the San Francisco area, or live in an area somewhere in the country who had this exact same situation, please let me know in the comments below what the story is, because I'm curious. Now, on March the 12th, and I'm recording this on the 19th, so keep this in mind, so it's been a week, another resident told SF Gate they were aware of this unspoken system which had affected the general public for years. When they tried to move the cones and park near one of the estates on the same block, an owner came out and personally told him to leave. Now, I like to know which owner was this. And I wish if that was the case they had him on camera. Just to prove a point. Not to like make their lives miserable, but in a shame standpoint. And show you how true of a NIMBY you are to everybody. That would have been interesting. Now, part of the parking... Part of the reason parking spots are so scarce is because the mansions are under constant renovation. When someone buys them, the new owners rebuild them, even if they were just been renovated, the resident explained. It's like a gilded snake eating its own tail, the cycle that never ends. Now, I guess that would be a problem. They're doing construction, but yeah, I'm pretty sure San Francisco is permit heavy. So there had to be rules about construction people parking. There has to be. Unless they're giving these billionaires a pass. And I'd like to know that also if that's the case. So let me know in the comments below if you know. He says, I found it extremely absurd that residents sold SF Gate on March the 12th, referring to the way that the owners of these homes try to control the public road. The other resident, the one who said he was followed, strongly believes that even though the situation seems banal, that it's representative of the larger battle taking place across the city and entire country. We can't allow the soul of San Francisco killed by hypo-entitled billionaires. Well, Mr. Citizen of San Francisco, that ship sailed a long time ago. You let the millionaires and billionaires take that city over. And if you go down to the city, I don't need to tell you, there's enough articles and videos out there that shows that going on. But here's the thing. I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top of this video. With this article, excuse me. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Let me see here. This is what I want to talk about. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on. Okay. Let me see here. Give me one moment, folks. There's something I'm going to point out here. As soon as I get back up to the top of the article, excuse me. I hate this. Let me see here. Okay. Here where I want to point something out. Mimi Haas, the billionaire Levi Strauss heir and the mother of Mayor Daniel Lurie. Now, here's what needs to be done in my opinion. She has to be the front woman for the neighborhood and explain to everybody who lives in that neighborhood why are they doing this. Why am I singling her out? Because that's the mayor's mom. So if she can't answer, the answer has to go directly to the mayor. Now, unless the mayor knows about it and trying to protect everybody in that neighborhood. And that's a scandal that I'm hoping that is not true. He's protecting the billionaires and letting not only that neighborhood from a parking standpoint, but the whole city suffer, and he don't care. And I feel for people in that neighborhood, they just want to park their cars and go home. Or just walk around like normal neighborhood people do. But let me know in the comments below, what should this neighborhood do? Should they do what I suggest in the, just suggested? Say something different? They get everybody on video of people doing this? Please let me know. Now I hope you like this video. Always do the like, share, subscribe, all those good things. And this is Lance, Mind of a Black Moderate Conservative.